Hi, Jacq Hackett here with a Friday Thought. This week I was a guest on a regular podcast run by Ahmad Manawar, and he's a marketing coach for consultants based in Canada. And we talked about a lot of things in the podcast interview, but one of the things we focused on was that common experience of the first year in consulting being really tough for people, because we both see that quite a lot. Not a surprise, it's a big move. There's a lot to get your head around, and there's generally a lot of anxieties for people in that first year of getting started. And not surprisingly, one of the biggest anxieties is usually winning enough business to stay afloat. And one of the things we were both interested in is this thing that it doesn't seem to be the first winning your first project or your first one or two projects that's the problem for people, because often people win that first project from within the organisation they're leaving. If they're taking a redundancy or moving on in that sort of way, that often happens, or they take it on the basis of a referral from inside their organisation to another organisation, and they make the leap to consulting once they've won that first project. So it's a great way to get started, nothing wrong with that, and it's a great way to test the waters for you. But one of the mistakes people make after they've won that first project is not marketing themselves in those early days. It's really it's really easy to think, well, I've done it. I've made the leap, I've made the transition, I've got my first project. And of course, then they're also really focused on getting that first project done. And there's a lot to take care of. And so when they get to the end of that first project or that second project, there's nothing there, nothing coming in. So, and panic can set in fact, at that point, because it's actually really unlikely that the work is just going to come and find you when you first start out and you don't yet have a reputation as a great consultant. So you really have to keep your eye on those next projects while you're doing your current projects. And that is true for all of us, not just when we start out. And the other thing he and I talked about was this thing about the kind of elusive list of consultants, because consultancy projects are rarely advertised. Yes, I know there are tender websites and some do make their way onto there, but in reality, the most common thing that's going to happen when a client has a consultancy project is they are going to contact and reach out to the 2, 3, 4 people on their list. It's the list that's in their head of good consultants that they know or they've used, or they're going to ask a colleague who they've used, who do they know that are good. So the really important thing in getting your business established is getting yourself onto that list into the heads, onto the radar of potential clients. So if you've won your first project, great, it's really good, but don't just sort of get on with that project and not take the time to market yourself. Get out there and network. Have coffee with people, ring people. You must let people in your network know that you are in the market for business, so that by the time you get to the end of that first or second project, there's something else on the horizon for you. Hope you have a good Friday.